Loneliness is a feeling that we have that tells us that we're created relationally. We're created to be lonely for relationship. And when we're not in it, we're going to have loneliness. Now, there are 4 kinds of loneliness. 4 kinds of loneliness. And you've got to be good at living all 4 of them to have the life you're made to have. All right? Believe it or not, there are times when you're lonely for you, which means you need to stop and spend time with you. That's called solitude. You need to sit down and go, now, Chip, how's it going? Stuff like that. Lonely for yourself. To sit with yourself, to find out, envision, to listen to your feelings, to just sort of sit and wonder, to meditate and to pray. I just said it. Solitude, time with yourself, always leads to talking to God. It's the most amazing thing. So in your solitude, you wind up finding out how you're not alone again. So there's a loneliness for yourself where you need to spend time with you, creating, sitting, thinking, fishing, whatever. Then you have a loneliness for others. And it's just certain others. Sometimes, let's say we'll go out to eat, Jihadi and Angie, and, would you rather go out to eat with me all the time, Jihadi, or Angie? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Angie, I had to say him, but I didn't mean it. But which means that he and I would be great talking together for quite a while and would not be lonely together for a while because we're feeding each other, correct? But there's a point at which, hey, Chip, hey, I got to go. Where you got to go? I got to go see Angie because I'm lonely for Angie. So we're lonely for relationships, but it's got to be certain relationships. So it's okay to rank relationships. And just because you're with certain people doesn't mean you're not going to be lonely for relationship. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're made to be with people who feed you at multiple depths. Yeah. So we're lonely for ourselves, we're lonely for others, and we're lonely for God. Now you can be touched by God and you can experience the presence of God, but you're not going to be able to get enough God because you're longing to go home, which means there's a level of loneliness in this life that's never going to stop. So I want you to know there's not enough relationship to fill you up to make the pain of living go away. We're always going to have some loneliness. Does that make sense? And then you guys probably need to cut out how many times I ask if it makes sense, but it's so, 29 years ago, if I were standing here saying this, I would think I was from the moon. But it's just intuitively true. Kindergartners know this stuff. So anyway, where was I? Oh, loneliness. So there's a level of loneliness related to God that's just, we can't get enough God. There's so much more of God. Some of you may have heard the tape that this preacher says, let me tell you about God. And he goes, God is, and he goes, the infinite is the caregiver. And he says, and now that I'm finished, let me begin again because I can't tell you enough about who he is. Let me tell you about who he is. And he starts again. So there's forever and ever and ever and ever. So we're going to be lonely as long as we're here. Okay. And then the 4th kind of loneliness, the 4th purpose of loneliness is to bring us to creating on the earth. We're all made to do something. There's a world in need and you're gifted. Simple. And you're lonely for creating. But I mentioned those 4 relationships pretty much in the order in which we're made to live them. Because if you don't take ownership of your loneliness for relationship with yourself, others, and God, then you're going to try to perform upon the face of the earth to not be lonely. You're going to put work in the place of relationship, performance in the place of being present. You're going to try to earn your way into being somebody and miss all the relationships you could have had. Then you're going to lie on your deathbed and say, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. You're going to say, I wish I'd gotten to know my children. If you have that much guts, and you won't. You're going to be pretending something by then. Yeah, it's amazing the number of sons I've been with who were working on recovery, and the deathbed stories, wait on their fathers to say something. Saddest one I've ever heard. My father kind of roused and looked at me and said, can you change the channel? And he's, yes, sir. He changed the channel and his father died. He'd been sitting there for hours waiting to hear something. Tell me something about me mattering. Tell me something about how you love. Tell me something. This other kid, his father had been in jail for years. His guy's ex-Marine, he's in treatment. And he waited 14 years for his father to come home from work. Turns out his father came home from jail. He'd been looking forward to his father coming home forever and ever and ever. He said, my father walked in the house, sat down in front of the TV, and he never used my name again except to call me to hit me. Like, God Almighty. Do you know, you see, you know. So loneliness is a feeling that with willingness, patience, work, and time brings us to what it's made to give us, which is intimacy. Intimacy, being full of relationship. Into me, see. Good things happen to people who are known. If you know I've got cancer, which is a bad thing, right? Me making that known is a bad thing. But me making that known is a good thing. Because if I'm known in something that's sad or embarrassing or whatever it happens to be, what can I get from you? Prayer, acceptance, and green bean casserole. You see, you're going to move into my life, me making me known. See, even in bad times being known, good things can happen. Good things happen to people who are known. And this is how to be known. Intimacy is a gift of loneliness. Impaired loneliness is denial of being human, being like others. It leads to a thing called apathy. Apathy is the opposite of love. Apathy is evil. I do not care. I am not like you. Apathos means no pathos, no pain, not one of y'all, not in it. You die, you die. You live, you live. It matters not one bit to me. So people who deny their loneliness become apathetic people, which means that no matter what you do not get to them. They are not affected by you. They do not care. And how do you feel around them? Really lonely, frighteningly lonely. You feel dead around them, isolated.